Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
Happy New Year, Dean.
Well, Happy New Year, John.
It's been about a month and a half since the last time we were in studio recording, I think.
Yes,
So,
indeed. Yep.
lots happened in the meantime. The holiday season, obviously. How were your holidays?
The holidays went exceptionally well. All things considered, it was good to be around people again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
had family come over and all that good stuff. Everybody was healthy and happy. How about you?
Yeah, same here. It was nice to kind of a little bit more normalcy, especially now that we're back to kind of not as normal again,
Right?
in short order.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they had that
exactly.
little window there of nice little bit of normalcy for us, I think. So,
Yeah.
well, hey, today, kind of like we did last year, we're going to do a little bit of a preview of the year. We're entering our third year of this podcast. Can you believe we've been at this for this long already?
Yes, I can. Absolutely. That's awesome. No, yeah. We're
Feels
blessed
every
to
bit of
do
the
it.
3 years.
Well, we're blessed to do it and blessed to have a great audience. So
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
awesome.
So we're going to preview some of our upcoming episodes. We've already got some stuff for getting ready to record and things we've got in the hopper that we know are coming up in the next month or so. We'll give you some thoughts about the year ahead, and I've got a fun little surprise for us too that even Dean doesn't know about. So all that plus what's tech connecting with us. It's time to plug in and get connected.
Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. It's time to get connected.
All right. Hey, as I mentioned, we are back for a new season. We actually have a couple new sponsors this year as
I
well.
know. Yes.
So I wanted to take a moment to shout them out. So Data Logic and Intel, first of all, thank you both very much for being, big time sponsors of the TEConnect program and the
Yes.
TEConnect podcast. We appreciate having you on board. That is in addition to our usual sponsors that we've been carrying over for the last couple of years: Elo, Epson, Honeywell, and Zebra. So thank you all for your support. You make this show possible. Look forward to having some of your subject matter experts and some of the brilliant people that you work with on the show to talk to us throughout the year.
I was just about
So,
to say, hey, John, do you think they realize that now they got to supply some people to
I
come on
I
here?
I hope
And
they do.
because that's the success of this show is all the other brilliant people that we bring on here, right?
That's right. It's not you and me.
It's not you
You
and
know,
me. Yeah, right.
nobody's here for us and our takes on everything. They're here for the other people.
That's
So
it. That's it.
so you gotta supply those people. I'm gonna be hunting your BDMs down and asking them to bring us some smart people. Hopefully you got some in mind. I know you do.
Bingo.
Well, Dean, thinking about this year ahead, is there anything you're excited about for this year? I mean,
Yeah.
kind of hard to predict or plan stuff again, or as always. But what's got you excited?
I don't know. There are still some things that, we can get excited about a little bit here. I got some personal things that I'm excited about, like, well, Star Wars, like we talked about coming out and some good content that's coming
Yep,
on
yep,
the TV. I think I'm
that's
going to
right.
get back into biking, which is one of those things that, I've had this bike laying around. I used to bike to work and all that kind of good stuff, but
Oh wow.
it's just one of those things that, as you and I talked about, I don't really make resolutions. I'm not into that New Year stuff, but that is one of those things that I dusted off the bike. I took it to the bike shop. I got it all trued up and stuff like that and ready to go.
Yeah.
But we are excited, from a marketing standpoint. Obviously, that's what I live and breathe. We live and breathe every day. Pretty excited about some of the things that we're going to be doing there as it relates to video and video marketing and just diving more into analytics. I don't want to give up the ghost on what we're doing there, but content, we got some cool stuff happening there. And then technology wise, I mean, hey, I'm an EV owner, so batteries and what continues to happen there and how all this stuff rolls out, I don't know, maybe someday I'll get one of those solar roofs and completely take myself off the grid. That's not going to happen in 2022, but anyway, those are just some things that are rolling around in my head. What about you? What's
Gotcha.
exciting you for this year coming up?
Like I said, it's hard to feel like you could plan and predict a lot for this year again. I mean, it's been that way for the last couple years, but it's definitely, it's one of those like, let's just take it as it comes. I'm hoping at least that we are kind of going to see something of a quote end to the pandemic
Yes.
in the
Okay,
sense
so that was
that
on my what I think a good thing that might happen this year. Go for it. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, we've got this Omicron variant that's blazing through everybody right now. It's highly transmissible. If there's a good time you're going to get COVID, it's probably going to be now. Let's be honest. But that also means that maybe we're finally going to kind of move over that crest from the constant struggle of, in and out of it and who can and can't get it, to the significant majority of people either getting it or being immune or having their vaccinations, etc. So maybe we finally shift over to that endemic mode instead, where it's like flu and we have, seasonal COVID stuff or something. I don't know. Not that I'm excited about that either, but, and I know we're still probably another year or two off from really being comfortable about, whatever it is in the future. But maybe, at least maybe by the end of this year, we're in a little bit of a different place than we've been the last few months or so.
I think so, man. I mean, I think that endemic word, I don't really, I mean, we're all getting to understand these words and phrases as we go through this process, pandemic, endemic. But the reality is that there's continues to be fatigue around it, right? And I think that's quite obvious in the fact that people got together over the holidays and whatnot. And it is such a burden to live under certain aspects of a pandemic. And I think that the conversation is going to start going towards still protecting those people that need it. I mean, that's
Right.
obvious. If you believe that as a virus continues to mutate, it gets a little bit less of a threat or whatever. Then we're just going to have to transition the conversation. You got to protect those people that need to be protected, the elderly in this case, or those who are immunocompromised or have other underlying things. But for the rest of us, hopefully it just kind of turns into that thing where, yeah, you're still going to get vaccinated like you do with the flu for those
Right.
that get a flu shot every year.
Yep.
We're going to have to watch our healthcare systems, because I think that, as this bubbles up or whatnot, that's really the burden that I think every honest person is still like, hey, it is what it is. But the burden on the healthcare system, if it's a burden in my area, people are going to start masking up around the area and stuff like this. I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see. But I do think that it's going to be really different in 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that, because we were just talking about events, we've been talking about events, attending events coming up like NRF. There's some other things that are going on, and I can tell you, just because we're meeting planners as well, there's just still a lot of angst around that,
Mhm.
and people are canceling now because of Omicron. And I get it, there's the reason to do that, but some events are making some fairly rash decisions about how they're dealing with it, and the protocols that they're making people go through, like daily testing and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, events are one thing, but if you have to go to an event and be handcuffed by all this rigmarole, I don't mean to belittle it, but it doesn't make an event anymore, right? It's more like, hey, I
Right.
got to do
Right.
all this, I got all these checks and balances. So I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see what happens, as it has been for the last 2 years. Now we're going into our third year on this thing.
Yep. Yep.
Interesting, yeah. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, what is the comfort level that you have to create to get everybody to feel like, okay, we can do this.
right,
I
yeah.
mean, it's interesting because I feel like when we did Vartech last year, we were sort of at that point in some extent, where I think
Hmm.
a decent amount of people felt fairly comfortable. We were also in
Well,
that kind
numbers
of,
were low, right?
they
Numbers were
were,
really
yes.
low at that
Yeah,
point. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we were
right.
in that weird period where Delta was waning and we weren't seeing as much, concern about that. And we were obviously before this Omicron variant had come along. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just all about just these ebbs and flows and figure out where we're going. And I'm hopefully, ideally, it sounds like this Omicron variant may burn out fairly quickly, and maybe we kind of get back into another ebb for a little while where we can get some comfort level in again, get as many more people as possible vaccinated. Hopefully the young kiddos can get that way eventually too. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, trying to inject some positivity. I feel like we did the same thing at the beginning of 2021, and
Right,
there
right.
was a lot that didn't go right there, but then there was also a lot of fun times too. So let's try again this year. Let's try to be positive and see if we have a different outcome.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now you mentioned also the whole getting a bike thing and trying to bike more, having a bike and biking more.
Mhm.
It's interesting you mentioned that because we got my son a bike for Christmas, and he's so far not quite good at it. I'm sure he'll get a little better at this summer. We can get him outside, but kind of makes me want to think about getting a bike at some point in the future to go riding with him. I haven't biked in a long time, and that's something I could enjoy. I will tell you though, you and James Cordy shamed me once when you guys were in here. We were talking about closing rings on our Apple watches, and you guys apparently just do it every freaking day with no issue whatsoever. And I'd
Uh,
feel good if I get like a random week every once in a while. Well, at this point, I've been on a 6 week plus streak of closing my rings every day.
nice.
So I'm proud of that. It was not
You
something
should
not
be.
some resolution thing. It wasn't something I was actively like, I got to go do this. It was just,
Yeah.
I just made a point out of starting to work out more every day, and and
That
and
dude,
now it's just sticking with me. It's one of those
that's
things I
the
got to do
key.
it.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, I wake up, I make it the first thing that I do in the morning. So I wake
Yeah,
up, I have a cup of coffee. It takes me 15 minutes, whatever, 20 minutes to get my bearings in life. And then I throw on my gear and I'm out the door. I'm either walking or I'm running. And then I do a light workout after that. And I've been doing it for years. And it's like now it's like brushing my teeth. It's like
yeah, yeah.
if I don't do it, I'm like, oh man, the day feels weird if I don't start out that way. And I don't know, that was the success for me, is having to get it into your routine.
Yep.
It just turns into a way of life.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you, man. Cool.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not a weight loss thing or whatever. If it happens, great, but it's more of I
Yeah.
just want to be healthy and
Yeah. Right.
keep the heart ticking along well.
That's right.
Just feel good about myself every day. So
That's right. We got good reasons to keep on living for sure.
that's right. That's right. All right. Well, I don't have anything else in particular to talk about that excites me about this coming year because again, I feel like there's a lot of open endedness, but we'll take it as it comes and see
Wait,
what
except
happens.
for all the Star Wars stuff that we talked about back in December,
Well,
all
of
the new
course, yeah.
content coming out and
And
all
I,
that.
I thought about us spending some time talking about Book of Boba Fett, but I'm sure we'll talk about it at our end of year,
Yeah, it's fair.
discussion
That's fair.
anyway.
That's
So
fair.
we're only a couple episodes in at this point. So yeah, as always, there's going to be plenty of Star Wars content this year and plenty for us to talk about when the year ends.
That's
So
fair. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely pumped about that. All right. Well, hey, Dean, I'm going to take a brief moment and interrupt what you see on the
All
planning
right.
schedule right now. So last year, when we talked about how you got your big promotion to VP of Marketing at BlueStar, and Marco and I went through a brief moment where we were like, "Man, what does this mean for the podcast? Like, is Dean gonna not have time for this anymore? Am I gonna have to find a new co-host?" So we weren't going to show you this. We figured, hey, this should justify your reasons for sticking around because we figured out, hey, maybe we'll do a little bit of maybe some tryouts and see if
Oh,
anyone else is good enough to fill the chair. And well, let's just go ahead and take a look at the results here. And Marco, Dean, this whole promotion thing, I'm kind of concerned that he may not do the podcast anymore. And this is kind of our thing. We need to.
It'll be all right, man.
Well,
Get him. We got a line of people outside right now.
Do we?
Yeah, line of people with lots of people out there to audition.
Oh, sweet. Well, hey, start bringing them in, man. Let's
All
do
right,
some
I'll get
auditions.
them,
I'm
I'll
sure
get
we can find a good one. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dirk Riverman.
No, why? Okay, whatever. Next. James, let's talk a little bit today about marketing plans. I'm betting you probably have a thing or two to say about that, don't you?
John, I thought you'd never ask. I feel like I've been preparing my whole life for this.
Mm-hmm.
I've got about 27-ish points I'd like to make. Let me start off by saying, that's probably about it. I'm sure I missed 1 or 2 points, but, to be as concise as I can be, that's what I got for you.
I'm trying to be the new podcaster.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
Okay, yeah, we'll get back to you. We'll let you know. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin.
And I'm Austin Hearn.
No, we're not doing tech trivia. Give me that. Where did you even get this thing
Fine.
John, there's a lot to unpack here today.
from? Yeah.
I'm Josh Kelly. Smash!
Marco, I don't know that this is going to work out, buddy.
No,
Like,
there's a few more out there. We're fine.
Yo, what's up? I am I'm D-Rev, man.
okay. Well, today on the show we're talking about we're talking about cannabis, aren't we?
If you want to, yeah, I like cannabis, man. What do you want to talk?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the TEConnect podcast. I'm John Martin. Out. Get out. Get out.
There's a lot of great stuff we baked out on that podcast today, John.
No doubt.
And I'm Derek Riverrat.
Why does everyone keep doing this? Hey, Sam, we're doing a podcast here. I need you to...
I'm busy, okay.
Really? Really?
Connect with me, yo. Connect up.
Margo, I can't. It's not the same. We need... Hey, wait. I just got a message from Dean. He's still going to do the podcast. Oh. Thank God. Hey, we better not tell him about this at all.
He'll never know about it.
Okay,
We don't have to tell him.
perfect.
We'll get all them to sign non-disclosure form.
Yes, that
can't talk about
exactly.
it.
Okay, good. All right, all right.
Our jobs
So-
are safe.
Okay, let's get out of here before he finds us.
Yeah.
Oh, that is one of the best videos I think our department has ever created. that was awesome. That was awesome.
Well, if that doesn't prove how much we need you on this podcast, you're irreplaceable.
There you go. There you go. Hey, I'm not going anywhere. You can't get rid of me that easily. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, hey, first of all, if you normally listen to this podcast via audio only, I will drop a link in the show notes directly to that part of the video so you can check that out because you might want to check it out. There's a lot of visual gags in there you might appreciate. Big thanks to Patrick Trout, James Cordy, Christy Schulteis, D. Joseph, Marl Bow, Josh Kelly, Dwayne Roebuck, Austin Hearn, Whitney Garrity, Terry Barker, Sam Hughes, Rodney Schaefer, and of course, a big time thanks to Mark Ryan Marko for making this happen, recording, editing. A lot of this was his idea, and we decided to run with it and put something fun together for you.
Our
So,
team rocks, don't they, John?
They do.
Those guys
Very
are
much so.
awesome. That is
everyone
awesome.
was game for this, but we basically did almost all this right after our little white elephant party last
Got
month.
it.
You know,
Got it.
so,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
everyone was game for it. So good time. So.
It's
So again, you're irreplaceable, as we've clearly proven here. So, all right. Well, hey, let's shift gears here. Let's talk a little bit about, let's think about our, the world of tech and our channel, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Are there any big topics or trends or tech in 22? Do you think are going to leap out? Is there stuff that you're keeping an eye on, whether it's in the channel or beyond?
So let's talk in the channel real quick, and we've got some good topics that I think that we've got lined up for the podcast. But RFID, just the whole Internet of Things, sensors, that type of a thing is going to continue. And we talk, almost ad nauseum around here about the need for solutions integrators, resellers to have a good tech stack. So those are a couple technologies. Again, embracing software development companies, getting to get those relationships going as it relates to some of those types of things. And I'll dive into like AI, vision, anything around, cameras and visual technology. You're going to continue to see a run on. So there's a variety of things that I think are happening in our space and on the fringe that are going to continue to have an impact in 2022. And I'll throw edge computing on there, right? Because a lot of stuff's going to have to happen on the edge in order for all this stuff to occur. That's not going away either. I don't know. What do you think? Let's stay in the channel real quick.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The one thing in the channel that kind of occurred to me, and we actually do have an upcoming episode where I think we're going to get into some of these topics, but it's the idea of what's going to happen with the supply chain. Obviously, we have established that supply chain is kind of broken in a way, and not just because of the pandemic. I know everyone wants to just say like, oh, it's because of the pandemic, but the pandemic, I think, is just exposed a lot of problems that already existed in supply chain and in the way we approach that, the way a lot of the supply chain hasn't been ready for these new consumption models, the new models of e-commerce, and the demand for on time, early, fast delivery type stuff. So I'm curious, is this the year that we're going to be able to work with a lot of our supply chain partners and help this industry start wising up to some new technologies and some new innovations that they just have maybe dug in their feet and been uninterested in, or just haven't been able to find the way to figure out how to make that a new part of their business. So there's something's got to happen. Like it's unsustainable. We can't let something like this be such an easy disruptor in the future. So I'm hoping maybe there's some opportunity there for our VARs. And again, we have an episode coming up where I think we're going to kind of start diving into some of that topic.
Well, and I think that one of the trends, I was of course reading some articles in preparation for this about what's going to happen in 2022, and I did stumble across an aggregate article that took like feedback from 300 different post articles, whatever, and kind of aggregated the response. And one of the things that we haven't talked about it in a long time is the onshoring trends that will continue. And so what that means basically is manufacturing, certain elements of the supply chain are going to come back either to the U.S. in this case into America, or very close by. Maybe it
Right.
goes to
Right.
Canada, maybe manufacturing comes to Mexico, or it's a little bit closer to the manufacturing process. So when that happens, that develops more opportunities for the people that are in our space. Typically, obviously on the transportation, logistics, barcoding side, stuff like that. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's going to be, you see figures that there's going to be a global 4 point whatever growth that's in place, but I think that there are certain areas of the economy that are primed for continued outperforming growth, and certainly the resellers need to be prepared for that in their offerings that they're going to have. So.
Yep, yep, I agree. Well, what about just beyond the channel in the world of technology in general? What kind of stuff are you paying attention or looking for this year?
So I was reading another one. Meta's Metaverse
Ugh.
plans will fall flat, and I like that prediction. I don't, yeah, exactly. My reaction to Metaverse is like, ugh. Is the topic around Christmas and the holidays for us. I had to explain it to some people, and other people were like, so anyway,
Yep.
that's one of those technologies. I'm pretty good if it goes away, or at least. Although I did try. Have you ever done VR, by the way, or like put
I
on the
honestly have
Oculus?
I have not, no. And I know that's probably something I would enjoy, but I have not actually done that.
Dude, you got to try it sometime. And we
Yeah.
so a family member got one and they brought it, and I only had it on for a couple minutes, but I mean, it is fascinating. It looks, it's whatever. It's not. I don't want to call it 8-bit technology, but it's not photorealistic. It's not like
Right,
you're
right,
looking around photo. It is obvious you are in a game that was
right.
probably written in the early 2000s, kind of a thing. But it's still, I get the technology and I get why people are excited about it, but I mean, back to reality. And by the way, I'm kind of hoping that some societal things are kind of a back to reality. We had a lot of shocks to our societal
Yeah.
systems through, the pandemic and some of the other things that are happening, especially here in the U.S. But there's just going to have to be some leveling that happens there. But
Yeah.
the other thing that I'll throw on the table is that I was reading that big tech's going to get even bigger, and I know you and I have talked about it. I don't know that it'll have a dramatic impact on our channel, but our lives, and the fact that just big technology continues to get bigger, and what that means, and if whether or not our legislation will start dealing with it and stuff like that. We'll have to see what happens there. Another bad thing that I was reading about is what they're calling an unequal recovery. So when you think about it, and really here the optics are more global in nature. You have
Mhm.
your developed countries that have a vaccine. Maybe they reach the endemic in 2022, but there's certainly a lot of parts in the world that won't. And so
Right.
you're going to see this unfortunately unbalanced recovery could happen as well. The last thing I'll throw out there, because this does play into our world, and the need to have a good security option in your tech stack, that unfortunately
Mhm.
ransomware is going to continue to ramp up. That's what some articles I was reading about, and that's just one of those things that it's there, right? It's
Right.
constantly there. Ransomware or viruses that happen on your computer and stuff like that. I don't know. So just you got to have a good solution for it if you're a solution integrator.
Yep, I agree. And the thing about the whole ransomware thing too, I feel like we're going to get to a point where it's no longer going to be simply the giant companies and huge corporations, healthcare organizations. Yeah, I understand that's where the big bucks are potentially to go after for these hackers, but I could see this eventually becoming something that just, random small businesses and small organizations could get hit by easily.
Absolutely.
Because the tech is going to become easier and easier for them to implement and throw out there. And yeah, and it might be that's probably a good case for you to start having those conversations with customers and telling them like, hey, listen, uh, you may think this you're not big enough or important enough to be hit by this, but that doesn't mean they're not coming for you at some point in the future. And now's the time to get yourself secure before that. So I
Absolutely.
agree.
And then just think about the dramatic effects that'll have on a business that doesn't have the resources to throw after something. Even just
Yep.
a mid-sized company that's 100, 200 employees, something like that. It can be devastating to be down for days. I mean, come on. You can't, it just, yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I agree. Well, it's funny. I noted on my notes. You probably saw it on the cue sheet I sent over. I said, "Are we going to be laughing about the metaverse next year?" So I totally agree with you on that one. And it's funny because I keep hearing so many places talk about like, what are we going to do with this in the metaverse? Who's going to do what in the metaverse? But what I don't hear is I don't hear run of the mill people talking about it at all.
Right.
And
Right.
granted, I get that like new technology can take a long time to trickle down to everybody else. But I also, I don't know. It's one of these things that it sounds like an idea that's just a pie in the sky kind of idea to gain some traction for, especially for Facebook. We talked about this. We had our Tech Bites episode. Like, it's pretty ironic that right after like some very damaging information came out about their practices and and what they do as a business, suddenly they're rolling out this new name for their company and this whole new concept and trying to invent the future of technology. Yeah, I just don't see it necessarily happening yet. Maybe we could be completely wrong. Maybe by this time next year we'll have egg on our face and be like, well, we were wrong about this, as we're podcasting with our VR goggles on, in some kind of virtual room. But that's
Yeah.
my other thing. And I think I mentioned this before too. Like, those of us who wear glasses, those goggles are not something fun. I mean, I don't want to wear something like that most of the day anyway,
Right.
but especially over glasses. Like when I go to a 3D film, nothing annoys me more than when I have to put on 3D glasses over top of my regular glasses. Like, I can't, these aren't going away. I've got to wear them.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just, until you create like the Star Trek holodeck room,
Yes.
where
Right.
I don't have to do anything different other than just walk into a room and turn a program on, count me out on this one for now.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I don't know, going back to the commentary on it, because crypto, NFTs, the metaverse, I often wonder, is this just a game for those that can? So I don't want to say the rich,
yep,
but for those that have the means and the ability to do stuff like this. I mean, I don't there's not an NFT out there that I can afford that I'm aware of.
right,
And so you
right,
see all this buzz about it, but it's coming from whatever people that are of the means that can do it, whether
yep.
they're a celebrity, whether they're whatever, their family's rich or whatever. It's to your point, it's not down here where the rest of the world is living.
Nope.
I mean, why would I ever buy an NFT? And I don't know, maybe NFT is one of those things. I was starting to read an article that's like, well, maybe there is some run here. When you talk about the ability for creators, I guess the creator economy, you're seeing
Right.
that some trends that'll continue on. And so if you're creating content or whatever you're creating in a digital space, now the NFT makes some sense in the sense that you're making unique one item or something like that. But I don't know,
Or
as
maybe
far
to
as
protect like an artist's,
right.
creative integrity and like their copyright, if you will, by
Yep.
having this encrypted NFT that they own.
Yep.
But then again, that still becomes more of just a, keeping creative efforts in the hands of creators, and so other people can't, make money off of them when they can go back and verify, like, no, I have this encrypted, version of this that I originally created that proves this is mine. I still, unless they decide they want to sell it off to make some money for themselves, I don't see where that value necessarily lies in that either. But yeah, that was my other point I had here, is like, I'm curious if is this something of a make or break year for this whole idea of crypto and NFTs? Maybe not. I could see this having some life. The cryptocurrency thing's been running for a while now.
It
But yeah,
has.
I'm curious, if are we going to get to a point where people are just going to decide like either this is a thing that's going to happen or a thing that most of us just can never actually get involved in. And I know this was someone else's idea. I think they said on another podcast I listened to, but someone pointed out, I wish I could remember who, that what's likely to happen is that there's going to be some major corporation or brand that's going to try to get into this NFT game at some point, by in some way suggesting like, you can have access to a certain type of experience or a certain type of product only by purchasing NFTs, or,
Ah.
in some ways, to try to figure out a way to make it happen for the random people, basically. And that to me, that sounds like a way that like we're going to find out, like, is this going to work or not? Like, let's say, I don't know, let's say Nike says, hey, we've got, a brand new line of shoes, but it's only available if you purchase the NFT or something of whatever it is you're buying. It's
Mhm.
only available if you purchase in crypto. It's the only way you're going to get this. And it's something that's they can think is going to be hot in demand. And like, are we going to see that happen? Are enough people going to buy it to justify them and other brands to keep doing the same thing? Or is it going to be something where very few people buy it except for the richest of the rich? And then we realize like, no, this isn't a thing after all.
That's- and maybe that's where it lands, right?
Maybe, I don't know. So that's kind of my take on it. Is I'm not saying it's not going to happen, because you never know with some of this stuff, but maybe this is the year, or at least in the next couple of years, where we kind of really decide one way or another, is this stuff and a viable form of currency and transaction.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. We'll see. I don't know. Don't know.
I don't either. All right. Well, hey, let's wrap this up by talking a little bit about some of what we've got coming up on the podcast. So
Yes.
I've been hard at work over the last couple months in our time since our last recording, booking some guests already. So we've already got several podcasts lined up to get us to the next couple months already. Plenty of them recording in the next couple weeks. In fact, next week, our first regular podcast, we have a check-in with Jeff Smith about government. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on in the government world. There was a whole lot of money that just got dropped from a
Still,
spending bill uh,
absolutely.
that is going to have a pretty big impact on our channel over the next several years. So we're going to get into a discussion about that with him. We've got a discussion coming up about RFID and asset tracking with one of our folks over at A to B Tracking. That's coming up. James Cordy is finally going to make his return for the finale of the demand generation trilogy, the challenge customer.
He's left us on this cliffhanger for this
He
long.
has.
I mean, come on, man. Yeah.
He's a busy guy. He hasn't even finished the book. He promises he's going to get to it this week for me and give me some talking points. So we're going to wrap that up with a discussion about how you can use content marketing to actually create demand generation. We've got an episode about supply chain mobility and e-commerce trends. I mentioned earlier, this whole idea of supply chain wising up and trying to incorporate new technology and where the low-hanging fruit might be for that. We've got a good podcast about that coming up. And we'll also get into some stuff about label print management, which is a nice way for businesses like warehouse, DCs, manufacturing to save some money by putting a little bit more management behind their printing. So lots of fun stuff we got coming up already with,
Yeah,
with
not
smart people that aren't us.
That's right. With more people that aren't us, and some more topics too. I mean, I think that you've done a great job, and we have some additional things that I think they're on. Whether it's omni-channel, whether it's diving a little bit more into IoT. Now with some of the additional sponsors that we have, we've got other subject matter experts. But hey, let's not forget. We're probably going to do some live podcasts as well,
That's
right?
right.
I mean, we're
Yep.
going to go down to VARTech. We'll be doing that. That was kind of cool. I think
Yep.
we'll also, John, you and I were talking about trying to tap into our TEConnect program a little bit more. I know you're much more involved on some of the end user demand generation, but kind of tapping into that, because what we want to bring to our community are some of these new opportunities, right? And a lot of what John is involved in is some of this. He's doing end user demand generation on some of this cutting edge software bundled solutions that really kind of speak into various areas, whether it's AI and stuff like that. So we're going to try to tap into that universe and try to bring some of those people on throughout the year as well. And oh, by the way, our European office is also going to start doing a podcast. So we might have to help them get off the ground a little bit. Get them up to speed. Maybe have some of the European folks come over, do a little cross pollination.
There you go. Yep.
Maybe
Yep.
we'll do a little bit of that in 2022. What do you think?
Yeah, help them realize, learn from our mistakes, basically. Here's how we screwed everything up in the first 6 months or so before we got it right.
That's right.
Here's how
That's right.
here's how you can come out of the gate not doing that.
Yeah,
So
much stronger than us.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of fun, exciting stuff to do. And you're right about like the TEConnect program and some of the folks we have in there. Yeah, there's oftentimes when I will be working on a content marketing campaign and I look at the technology being presented and the solution being presented and think, man, this is a smart idea that I've just never thought about before. Very useful, very good. So yes, those are people that I will be tapping their shoulder and saying, hey, now that we've done this campaign with you, scratch our back and come onto our podcast and talk a little bit about how how solutions like this impact that particular industry. So yes, we'll definitely try to do more of that. But we do still need a little bit of help though. And
Oh yeah.
because while again, Dean and I and all of our great, fantastic sponsors can come up with plenty of ideas for the podcast, for topics, we need your help. We need you to keep sending us your ideas. So we had a topic challenge that we were running. We started back in our last batch of episodes where if you deliver a topic to us, what you want to hear about, subject you want us to dive into, technology you want to learn more about, a particular partner or sponsor you want to hear from, or you've got someone to recommend to us, we want to hear that from you. Just for sending us an idea, we will send you a TEConnect podcast t-shirt. I've seen the design, looks amazing. I don't even have one yet. I want one of these things. But we will send you one of these t-shirts so you can wear it all around and show off the podcast that most people probably haven't heard of, but that's okay. You'll look smarter for doing it, I promise. And if we do take your idea and decide to actually build an episode around it or out of it and use it, we will send you a $100 gift card. So
Boom, get
that's
paid.
yeah. I mean, seriously, just send us an idea and you could get free money, or you, at the very least, you're going to get a t-shirt. And I mean, even if you don't like wearing t-shirts, you could use it as a rag or something. I don't care. Like, just give us some ideas. We'd like to hear 'em. So,
Yeah.
so we're extending this out. I think originally we said we would do this through January 15th. We're obviously past that as this episode's coming out. I'm going to say through the end of Q1, we will still keep taking these ideas from you.
Absolutely. Yep.
So through the month of March, send us an idea for the podcast. We'll hook you up with a t-shirt, and you might even just get some money out of it. So we want to hear from you. Oh, hey, let's them say how we can do that, though. That's obviously the important part here. So first of all, the easiest way to get us, you can email us you email us techconnect@bluestarinc.com. You can also find us on Twitter @TechConnectPod. You can send us a direct message there if you like. And you should also be following us there. And of course, as always, we want you to be liking and subscribing to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button for the episode, subscribe to our channel so you can get notified when new episodes come out. We're going to be, I think, doing a lot more cool video content this year too. So you might see some other cool stuff popping up. And if you're listening on your audio podcaster of choice, leave us a review if you can. Spotify, I know, offers reviews now, so you can leave reviews there. If you're an Apple Podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating review. Again, if you feel the need to reach out to us, TechConnect@BlueStarInc.com, @TechConnectPod on Twitter. All right, Dean, let's wrap things up with our fun favorite segment that we love, What's
Yes.
TechConnecting with You? This is where we get to talk about something from the world of science, tech, innovation that has got our attention, caught our eye, something we were excited, interested to read about, or maybe something that is terrifying us and could be the end of humanity as we know it. It can go either way. So, what's TechConnecting with you this week?
Well, nothing that's that terrifying. I'm going to go easy. Dude, I love this story that came out. The James Webb Space
That's mine
Telescope.
too.
Is it seriously?
Yes,
All right.
it's the same one.
Oh no! Well, then I can go on to something else.
You
All right,
go ahead. We'll share
let's
this.
riff
We'll talk
on it.
about
Well,
then.
you
Yeah.
and I are geeky that way, I guess. It's
Yep.
just it's one of those things. So if you don't know what this is that telescope NASA threw up into the universe, if you will, and it's a tennis court size sun shield that they're putting out there that kind of erects itself, as it gets deployed. And what it's supposed to be able to do is peer all the way back to the very beginning of the galaxy in the universe, by being able to see, more than 14 billion light years away, and what it's been able. So it's just fascinating, right? I don't know why you and I get caught up in some of these things, but as I was talking about, and as you and I were growing up, I mean, the space program had such an impact on your life. You stopped and you watched the shuttle, or you heard about the moon landing and stuff like that. And it's hope is what it means, really. I think a lot of people get, it's cool because there's just hope and new things that'll be found. So I don't know. I was drawn into it. That thing's out there right now. It's completely unfurled. So, and it was successful. So, right. Thumbs up to NASA for being able to do that.
Everything's going well so far. I got some little stats and some
Go for it.
details around it that I pulled up. So this launched on Christmas Day. It was 3 decades in development on this particular satellite. It is 100 times stronger than the Hubble.
Let's pause there for a second, because Hubble brought back some amazing imagery, just unbelievable.
We have seen parts of our galaxy and the universe as a whole through Hubble that we never ever dreamed of being able to see, and now that's old news. This thing is going to be able to even do even more. So it's studying the universe using infrared technology, which is why they had to have this giant sun shield thing that they unfurled, I think, a couple weeks ago now, to basically to absorb as much heat as possible. Because apparently to do this kind of study in infrared and use this technology requires extreme cold temperatures, which, yes, space is extreme cold, but in the nakedness of space also, if you're in the path of sunlight, there can be a lot of warmth actually that starts coming off there. So this way it can absorb any of that kind of warmth from the sun or from Earth. What I thought was cool also is now that it's unfolded, it's moving to this part I think it's called a Loringer point,
yes,
which is a spot that's kind of in a place between the gravity pull of the sun and the earth where it can stay fairly stable. So it will move like basically it kind of is almost rotating the sun along with us, but it'll stay in Earth's shadow of the sun. So you won't have any direct sunlight on it. And it'll also stay stable enough so that they can do this kind of research without a lot of movement. And again, without those random spikes of potential heat or whatever that could interrupt it. So just
Isn't
some
that cool?
really
Just that
it's so
alone is
smart.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
fascinating. They did so much work on this. Like they did extensive tests with unfurling that it's like these hair thin sheets
Yes. A
that are
foil
used for
like
this
that.
shield.
Yeah.
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 And they there's like 5 pieces to it. They had to be very slowly and carefully unfolded. And apparently it actually, when they finally did it, went so well. They thought it would take them like a week or so to get it all unfurled, but they got 3 sections within a day and the other 2 the next day because it went faster and easier than they expected. So kudos to them. It's a marvelous feat of engineering, and it sounds like we're going to get some really cool stuff from it starting.
I can't wait to see
I
some
think
of that data.
late summer. I think late
Yeah.
summer is when we
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
getting actual feedback from it. So.
Because it has to cool down. To your point, it's got to get out of the sunlight.
Yep.
It's got to cool down a little bit. But fascinating stuff. Can't wait for the data, whatever, to start coming back so that they can start parsing through it and see what's
I remember
out there.
starting to see some of the images from Hubble. Some of these images that are in the last few decades or so that have come through that the Hubble telescope provided for us of just amazing views of these different galaxies and just the way some places shape up around the universe we never expected. All these things we've learned. I can only imagine how much more we're going to get out of this.
So let's stay in space for a second. What's your take on Elon? Didn't he come out and say we're going to be on Mars in 5 years? Did you hear that bold statement?
I take everything Elon Musk says with a grain of salt.
Okay, fair enough.
Still, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a Cybertruck rolling around on the road yet. Have you?
No, I haven't. That's a good point.
I'm not saying he doesn't come up with some good stuff. There's not some good stuff that Tesla can put out there, but and obviously SpaceX has been doing some amazing work. That kind of keeping the space program alive at this point. But yeah, I haven't. That's what I'll take with a grain of salt. I think it'd be awesome, and I suspect we'll get there within our lifetimes, but 5 years might be a little too ambitious.
A little too ambitious, yeah. Well, hey, if anybody can do it, I guess he's got more money than God, so give it a shot. Although that Hyperloop thing under Las Vegas has turned into like the joke of
big fiasco there.
Oh my gosh! Did you see some of that video where the Tesla's like it turned into a traffic jam?
Yep.
And you literally can't get out of
sailing.
it.
Yeah.
So we got some work to do there.
I mean, I guess, all great innovation comes with, some hangups and snags along the way. It's just when it's someone like him who it gets very vocal about.
Yes, very public about it. Right.
And is very obviously, trying to pretend like he's got the solution for these things. And then they kind of fall flat on their face. You get a little bit of that Schadenfreude where you kind of go, hey, laugh at him a little bit, so can't help it. All right. Hey, that's what's TEConnecting with us for this week.
Yeah, lots of good stuff in 2022 coming up.
Exactly. So as I mentioned, next week we are back with our first regular episode with Jeff Smith to talk about government. Lots of great stuff coming. Hope you guys are subscribed. And again, let us know if there's something else you want to see. So for Dean Reverman, I'm John Martin. Until next time, keep staring at the skies, man. There's cool stuff up there. I promise. I know the world down here kind of sucks right now, but the world up there can be kind of cool, but still, exactly. So, and as always, stay in there. The TEConnect podcast is brought to you by ELO. Purpose-built for point-of-sale, the ELO E-Series 2 offers a 15.6-inch touchscreen display, Intel's 9th generation Celeron processor, and an integrated expansion hub to connect the peripherals you need. From cash drawers and printers to barcode scanners and payment devices, there is connectivity to cover it all. For added flexibility, the E-Series 2 offers models with Windows 10 or no OS, providing businesses the best solution to customize for their environment, covered by a 3-year warranty. To learn more, contact your BlueStar representative. TEConnect podcast is also brought to you by Zebra. Dean, would you say that healthcare budgets are probably kind of tight right now?
Ooh, a little bit. Yes, sir.
We're always kind of tight.
There's always that technology thing happening there in healthcare. No doubt about it.
Exactly. Well, hey, they are tight, but quality technology is still a must, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So You can help your customers on both fronts with Zebra's TC21 and TC26 healthcare mobile computers. They are the ultimate cost-effective devices that provide all the features for non-clinical healthcare workers that they need to communicate, document, and stay connected from anywhere on campus or beyond. You can choose from Wi-Fi only or cellular options with Zebra's leading voice solutions and mobility DNA tools to deploy healthcare-ready 5-inch display devices with easily removed batteries and a wide selection of potential accessories. The TC26 also now supports Citizens Band Radio Service, or CBRS, for use in large areas for wireless coverage. So, sounds like these are some pretty cool devices that you might want to deploy in a healthcare setting, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Not just good tech, but healthcare specific tech. That's important.
That is very important. You're right. Not just any old tech will do. We've talked about that plenty of times on the podcast. You don't want to give somebody just a standard iPhone or an Android phone. You can't guarantee that's going to work the same way in healthcare. All right. Well, hey, to learn more and find plenty of helpful sales tools and a video overview of the TC series of mobile computers, check out the link in the show notes.